Today I'm going to demonstrate two fire alerting systems, one from Lifetone, the other one the Silent Call that's in our kits. So I'm going to be looking at my notes, but one of the things that you have to take note of on the differences between these two, the Lifetone has to have a smoke detector compatibility test when you first turn it on. And that's just to ensure that it can detect your smoke detectors. This Lifetone will detect a compatible smoke detector that's in your house already that emits a T3 signal. That's a Underwriters Laboratory standard. So what we'll do, when I turn this on, the word test will flash on this thing. And so I have to initiate a smoke detector compatibility test first. So what I have to do is press this red button in the back, and it goes through a self-test. And then once the self-test is done, it goes into a smoke detector compatibility test mode, waiting for you to set off your alarm. So as soon as the word test on here flashes, I will have to set the alarm off in order to make sure it can pick it up. Okay, now that test is flashing, I can set off my alarm. So what I'm going to do, right now, I am going to initiate a test on my smoke detector. Now I'm going to use this one that came with the Silent Call because it generates a standard signal, just like anyone in the house. Most of them have a button that you can press. This one doesn't have one, so I usually keep this little Q-tip thing in my kit so I can push down on the button without damaging that little metal thing in there. So I'm gonna start this off, and it's gonna have to go through 8 cycles about before this will detect the alarm. And you'll see what happens. It'll emit its own tone, and you'll see. All right, so I'm gonna go through the test right now. Are we ready? Okay, now that that's over with. All right, now it's ready to be set up in the time set mode. So that was the smoke detector compatibility. Now that's just all that's telling me is that it can listen to a smoke detector that's in your house. The differences between this one and this particular smoke detector has to be used with this, or I should say this receiver needs an intelligent transmitter, because that's the method that this one uses. This one listens. There's a microphone on the top of this unit that listens to the signal from your smoke detector. This one here uses intelligent transmitters. They have different types of transmitters for this guy here. So in addition to detecting a fire alarm and a clock radio, a clock alarm, both of these are clocks also, alarm clocks. But this has other things that can be detected as well to help wake you up in the event of an alerting condition. Okay, batteries. The Lifetone has 4 D-size alkaline batteries inside of there. And they say that can last about 7 days without an alarm condition. So if I unplug the power, it should be able to maintain monitoring of the fire alarm for 7 days. On this guy, the time is, they call several hours. So this one has a big strobe light on it though, so it's going to suck down a lot more power than this guy. So the distance between the sensors Since this one can only detect a fire alarm, it requires whatever standard is when you buy your smoke detector. There should be one outside the room where the receiver is, you know, whatever your life tone is, there should be a smoke detector outside that room. Same thing with these. But since it's not having to listen to anything, these are transmitters in addition to being a fire alarm, but they will transmit the signal up to about 250 feet. So you do have a range of about 250 on the silent call. All the devices, when you first get this, they're all programmed the same out of the factory. And what that means is you don't have to worry about going through any programming of the thing. But one thing that this does that's a really nice feature is it can monitor up to 3 different smoke detectors. And there's a separate light to tell you which smoke detector alarm has gone off. But there's also, because it's an intelligent device, it can tell the receiver when the batteries are low. And it can also tell you if there's a problem with the sensitivity, picking up a fire. It has some built-in diagnostics for this thing. And so that the nice thing about it is it can relay that information to your receiver, and your receiver will know which smoke detector is causing the problem, whether it's a low battery condition or an actual alarm condition. So with that, I am going to show the basic programming of this device. There's switches on the inside of this thing, and when you program the device, you have to basically go through a clear function. So if there's anything already programmed into this, we got to get it out of there. So I'm going to do what's called an all erase function. And what that does is I have to remove the power. These batteries, by the way, if you lose power, there's a switch on here that can enable or disable the battery backup function on this. Right now, because it's stored in our kit, I usually keep it off so it doesn't drain that battery, that NiCad battery that's in here. So I'm going to turn the monitor of the battery on, so that way when I show you the an AC power is gone condition, this goes from blue to amber. So that's just a nice little thing to show you that you have something wrong with the power. This one has a error light. There's a little red light on here that goes that turns off when you lose AC power. Okay, so I'm going to go through an all erase function on this one first. And what I have to do is I have to make sure the battery backup is turned off, because I'm going to clear this out. And I remove power. So the amber, it's not amber, so that means there's no AC, there's no battery backup right now. And so to get this into the all erase function, I have to have the minutes button pressed while I put power to the device. And then I remove. Okay, it should be set. Okay, once you've done the all erase, I have to enable the program mode. So I have to hit the mode button until the yellow light comes on. Okay, now it's in programming mode, waiting for the signal. Are we ready?
Nope, stand by, hold on.
Okay, all right, I'm going to turn off the alarm by hitting the mode key. So now that I've got the alarm set off, these are both ready for listening to a fire smoke detector in your house. And in order to do the demo, I decided to use this, so I only have to use one transmitter for both devices. So these are both set up, they're ready. I didn't set the time and an alarm, but I will initiate a fire alarm, and we'll watch the difference between the two, the response. With that, I'll set the alarm off. Okay, now that we're set up with this one, this was already set. It's into clock, it's into the monitor mode. And I am going to set the time on these things. The way I set the time on this, the silent call, is I hit the mode button until the first light goes on, and I can go through and set the hours. There's a minute button and an hour button, and I'm setting the time. So I hit the mode. Once I'm done, I'm not going to set it up, but that's the procedure. The alarm, I press the mode until the second light is on, and then I go through the hours and the minutes on this as well. So I can set the alarm on this, but the time and then the alarm, and I'm going to make sure I push the button until the lights are off. Now it's ready. The other button on this thing is for enabling or disabling the alarm clock. So it will never disable the sensing of the fire alarm, but it will disable the sensing of the alarm clock. So if you don't want to be bothered by the alarm, you can just push the button, and there's a little icon, a little bell icon that comes on the display when you have the button enabled, the alarm function enabled. On the lifetime, you do the same thing. It's similar, but I have to hit on this one for setting the clock. I have to hit the button until the hours flash. Okay, so right now it's in a mode. I'm not going to go through the setting of this. It's just like any other clock, though. So you have to set the clock, and then you also set the alarm. There's a set alarm button on this guy, too. So I won't go through setting of the time and date. So, because there's nothing magical about that. Another feature, this one I show with a bed shaker because it comes with a bed shaker. This one does not, so that's why I don't have that shown. But the nice thing about this is it can monitor other devices, a telephone. If you have a telephone outlet in your bedroom where the receiver is located, you can just plug this into the phone jack. And if you need an extra jack, there's a piece that comes with this, so you can do that. Or you can buy, if you don't have a phone jack near your phone, you can buy a transmitter, phone transmitter, and that works up to about, I think, 2,000 feet. So there are different devices that this thing will detect. This one detects just a fire, and that is it.